Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Tuesday, the 24th of January. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this bright and breezy Tuesday morning by Joshua Barrie. How are we doing, Joshua?
Good, Derek. I see you're a company man again this morning. Is that the dog walk attire?
I've got the Rangers Review gilet on, Tim Sherwood style, so... yeah, absolutely fantastic. You have to put it on in these conditions. I've got to admit, it is Baltic down here in Warrington, but yeah, a lovely garment it is. Yeah, before we talk all things Rangers, folks, and we have a signing to talk about, which is great news. Just a quick word on a couple of things. Bit of housekeeping. First of all, you can see the little ticker below. We've got an amazing offer on the website just now. Just £1 for 4 months. Yes, 4 months worth of content on the site. Or you can take advantage of our annual subscription. It was £34.99. It has now been slashed to just £19 for the full year. All you have to do is head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. It's dead easy to do so. As you can see as well, the banner on your screen, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've surpassed 11,000 subscribers now, so thank you to each and every one of you. And a quick word as well to our podcast sponsors, Seneca Hair Restoration. You know the drill by now. If you're looking to revamp the top of your head, these are the guys to go to. They're the #1 hair transplant corporation in Europe due to its elite hair restoration services and innovation techniques. To date, they've treated over 43,000 hairless sufferers, as they like to call them. Their mission is a simple one: to change people's lives and restore their lost self-confidence. And all the links to their social media accounts and their website is in the description box, so go and check them out, folks. Right, Joshua, Todd Cantwell is done and dusted, signed yesterday, unveiled as a Rangers player. And there is an exciting press conference taking place this afternoon where he'll be unveiled to the media. Looking forward to what he's got to say. He's been assigned the number 13 jersey. He gave an interview to Rangers TV yesterday, folks. I'd urge you to go and check it out. And he says that he's had an unfortunate last couple of seasons, but he's taken that number 13 jersey because he feels that, I mean, it's historically an unlucky number, isn't it? But he feels that it could be lucky for him at Rangers. I've got to say, I like the cut of his jib, as they say. Talks well, and I'm really excited at seeing him in the Rangers jersey.
Yeah, I agree, Derek. I mean, there's so many things to cover with this transfer, but I think we should start with the confidence that Cantwell obviously has and choosing the number 13. He effectively did it, and he says this in his Rangers TV interview because he wants it to be remembered positively. He believes that you make your own luck. Has obviously had a difficult couple of years and has always been someone his self-confidence has been noted in the past. And he's always said that it's not arrogance, it's just self-confidence. You need that at Ibrox, Derek. I think if you're a creative player, you need confidence in your own abilities. It's something we've spoken about with a player like Alex Lowry before, to go and try things. Cantwell's a really exciting transfer because I think it fits exactly what Michael Beale said when he was speaking at the start of the window about people coming in that are going to be starters, that are going to drive the standards. It's a move that Cantwell needs to make work. He's had a difficult couple of years for varying reasons. As he alluded to, I'm sure from the other side of the fence as well, the coaches would have their own side of the story. But, you know, that's football. But his quality isn't in question. You know, anyone who's watched him before or knows the type of clubs he was linked with in the past. Rangers are able to get him because of a misfortunate couple of years, but these are the loopholes they need to try and find in the transfer market. And because, you know, Rangers can't offer the money, they're not in the TV market as some other English clubs, Derek. We've spoken about that so many times. But now that they have that kind of established pathway to selling players to big clubs like Aribo, Bassey, Patterson, what they can offer players like Cantwell is the opportunity to play for a club of a size that he hasn't before. He said that when he was speaking about Ibrox and the size of the stadium and having those fans behind him to play for a club that they just wouldn't otherwise, but also still take that step perhaps to be sold on and for a future fee if they are obviously successful at Ibrox. I think if it works, it's going to work really well. Cantwell spoke about the importance of trusting Beale, which I thought was interesting because it's an important move in his career. He's 24 going on 25. As I say, he needs to kind of make this work and redirect the trajectory, which was going upwards up until the summer of 2021. So a really exciting signing. Looking forward to hearing a bit more from him today. And if anyone wants to read a bit more about him, plenty on the website. Scout Report, kind of breaking down his early comments as well. So do go and check that out.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get to a few comments. This from Ross Joshua. Is Joshua dyeing his hair in dedication to Cantwell's signing? Get the hairband out too. What a player he will be. I think there'll be a few folks going to salons and barbers across the west of Scotland, Joshua, asking for a Todd Cantwell.
Yeah. It's I've not considered the dyeing yet, but I have worn a hairband to football previously, Ross. So maybe, but it is, in all seriousness, Derek, the reason that I think it's such an exciting signing is it's not a loan deal, so it's not temporary. It's not, so similar to Tillman, you've got that. Obviously, there's the option to buy there, so you're not kind of developing a player for a year and then he goes away. He's not like an Aaron Ramsey where he was 32, 33 and his quality isn't in question, but physically he's not there to dominate. I think that's what makes this transfer so exciting because, as Ross rightly alludes to there, if it does work, it has the potential to be such an exciting transfer for Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely. Some nice comments coming in. First of all, Matt Weir says, morning troops, working from home for my daily listening coffee up here in Inverness. Great to have a signing in the door. Hopefully that settle all our nerves about signings and trust Beale. And James Strachan, what a result this was last night. He says, good evening, morning chaps. Very sad to see the Aberdeen result. I've not heard of that team before, talking about Darvel. What was all that about, Joshua? What an incredible result that is. Congratulations to Darvel, by the way. It's sensational. Has to be the biggest shock of all time. The sixth team of Scottish football to beat a team in the top flight is no mean feat. And congratulations to a West of Scotland side. It defies belief. And how good was their pitch?
I know, pitch was very. I knew you'd pick up on that, Derek, because you've written something just up that avenue today. But yeah, congratulations to them. I only watched a wee bit of the first half, but the bit I did watch, they were the ones that were kind of fizzing the ball about and looked like the better team. Aberdeen, obviously, it's a bad defeat for them. But as Darvel rightly put on their Twitter, it's not Aberdeen's worst result, it's Darvel's best result. So yeah,
absolutely is. Yeah, well done to each and every one of them. And I fancy them up against, they're playing Falkirk next. So if they can beat Aberdeen, then I think they've got a fair chance of progressing past Falkirk. So yeah, fantastic result. Let's get back to the Rangers chat. Todd Cantwell, as I mentioned, folks, was speaking to Rangers TV last night. There is a press conference today. Alan asked, what time is said press conference? I believe it's staggered. The broadcasters get a section with them, the written press, and
I think it's 2 o'clock-ish, Derek.
The fan groups as well. So it's around about 2 o'clock, Alan. And you'll get all the fallout from that on the website and our social media channels. So keep an eye out for that. Todd Cantwell, as I mentioned, gave that interview to Rangers TV. And he said Michael Beale was key in him joining the club. I'll read you some of the quotes that he said. He says, "This is a massive club and there is massive responsibility when you sign for Rangers to be the player that the fans want to see. They want to see a player that works hard and a player that can win them games, which is very important. And that is something I'm hoping to bring. I think it was an important stage of my career and an important move. Speaking to Ross and the manager, they seem like two very good people and good at what they do. The manager was very clear with me and he laid out exactly what they like about me and what they want from me as a player. That's all we can ask for is clarity. The chance to play in Europe and to win things. That's why I am here, to win trophies. The manager was massive in terms of why I came here. It's really important to have a manager that believes in you and you believe in them. Not a lot of players say it, but you need to be on board with everything if you want to get the best version of yourself. I feel the manager can get that out of me and I'm looking forward to working with him." Saying all the right things, Joshua, and I think I liked the tweet, as someone mentioned earlier on, as Brian says here, the battle fever is on. His tweet yesterday with the fantastic sign, the welcome to Ibrox sign, which I do love, when new signings are pictured next to it, and I'm excited to see him play. I think he's a certainty to start on Saturday. Would you agree?
Yeah, mate. He's a certainty to start soon, Derek. Obviously, this isn't a player who's going to be phased in and start playing in March. I think that's why you get him in the door in January, so that he can make an impact between now and the end of the season, and then obviously make a big impact next season. In terms of where he will play, I think you can kind of split Beale's team into kind of 4 compartments, as we've talked about before. The defense, kind of defensive midfielders, which is where a certain Raskin comes into the conversation. The attacking midfield, and then your couple of goal scorers. It can take on different forms, and I think what will suit Cantwell is it's a real free role. We've spoken about it loads. There's been loads of stuff on our website and our Twitter page. The kind of variation of positions that Sakala and Kent in particular, Tillman as well to a degree, have been picking the ball up and kind of given that autonomy to go where the ball is, go where the space is. And I think Cantwell will really enjoy it, because whenever I've heard him speak about his own game, he speaks about ball carrying, dribbling, opening up a defence. And he's going to have a lot of opportunity to try and do that in Scotland, because a lot of it will be breaking down defences. But I think the positive, looking from the outside in, is it's not a player who's reliant on space out wide necessarily or in behind, who relies on his pace to break down defences. He is someone that I think will do really well in those tight spaces. There's an interesting segment of an interview in the piece that I mentioned that's in the comments section, where he's kind of breaking down his own dribbling style, which is really interesting in his own words. So I'd urge you to go and check that out. But I think he'll be in sooner rather than later, Derek, whether he starts at the weekend. I guess it's at home as well, so maybe there is an argument that you put him straight in. But if you have him in the same team as Kent and Tillman, that's an exciting team to watch.
Yeah, it certainly is. A lot of questions coming in about where does he fit. Alan says could possibly go to a 4-1-3-2 with Cantwell replacing Lundstrom as a number 8. Lundstrom needs to up his game for me. He's been off the ball for some time. I don't necessarily think that's Cantwell's best position. There was a comment come in. Joe90 says, Alan, check out the interview with the Norwich fan. He told me that he likes to see him as a number 10. He has played off the left, but his sort of preferred position is that number 10 role. So it'll be interesting to see if A, he starts on Saturday, and B, what position he's going to play. But I think he's a player that's going to have a big role in Rangers going forward. I think there's no doubt about it. Let's move on to other players that have been linked, Joshua. Union 1872 says, what's going on with Raskin? Mixed reports. Reports over in France, I believe, saying that he's underwent a medical in London ahead of a move to Rangers. We're trying to get that substantiated. There's other reports suggesting that no fee has been agreed, no agreement has been reached with Standard Liège. But it certainly seems that all noises are intimating that it's a move that is edging ever closer, Joshua.
Yeah, and obviously Michael Beale himself confirmed the interest last Friday, whenever it was, in his press conference, when he started to speak about Raskin, and he said he wouldn't budge, and then obviously gave a bit of detail away. Was watching him yesterday, Derek, for another piece we've got coming on the website, and I think similarly to Cantwell, this could be a real game-changing signing for Rangers. Again, if you're Raskin and you're looking at the natural next step in your career, this is why obviously establishing a pathway to sell players to top clubs is so important, not only for the financials of getting money in and becoming self-sustainable, but also having that pathway to show to players like Raskin, look, you can come here for 2 years, you'll be able to enjoy the unique circumstances of playing for a club like Rangers, playing Europe, win trophies, play for a bigger club than you would otherwise. But there's still that window to the Premier League, which is only down the road, and Rangers, as I say, with the Rebo and Patterson and Bassey as well, obviously going to one of Europe's big clubs in Ajax. Rangers can now show he'd be a really exciting player for me, Derek, at the base of midfield, because he's so aggressive, so quick. You'll see if you watch compilations of him, or if you've watched games of him playing for Standard Liège, you'll see so often that when he goes to win the ball back, he gives himself quite a lot of room between him and his opponent. And then just sprints a bit like a pit bull. Sprints as soon as they take their first touch. Kind of really intelligent in 1v1 duels. A lot of man marking in Belgium. Would be a little bit, I guess, more compact playing on the Beale system, but that would probably only help him. And then on the ball, a really strong ball carrier, pretty one-footed, is maybe somewhat of a negative. Really likes his right foot, but happy to get beyond and contribute in the attacking sense, because Rangers don't just need a player at the base of midfield that's going to break things up. They need a player who's going to start attacks and contribute to attacks and run beyond. And only 21. It would be a really interesting and an exciting signing again, and I think fits that mould of what Beale wants, which is players who need to drive Rangers forward. And you're saying there, Derek, that Lundstrom hasn't been great. Lundstrom and the whole really of the team for the last month haven't had much competition. because of the injury situation, and Beale has said as much. And if you were to get Raskin in the door alongside Cantwell, I certainly think that that would drive everyone's standards up, because they'd have to if they want to start.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in. Let's get to a few of them. Pete Lawrence says he's got drive and a strong leader. Connor Fleming says, how comparative is he to Joey Veerman? I'm not entirely sure, Josh.
I think he's more of a I think he's more of a when I was watching him at Connor, when I first went to watch him, I kind of expected a player who just sat in front of the defence and sprayed the ball wide. I don't know why, it's just what I had in my mind. And he does do that, and you will see him as the deepest player. But I think his key strengths are his ability to break up play, but then also join it. So I don't think he's quite... I think he's still good on the ball, and he's still good. There were some nice clips I was watching him yesterday, which are included in the piece of him really in that Stephen Davis mould, conducting how to open up a defence, playing that bounce pass. It always reminds me of the goal at Ross County where Davis plays it off Morelos, plays Tavin behind, and he's just the one that's creating that opening and has the ability to know when to slow down the game and speed it up. Raskin's obviously only 21, so I guess that's something he needs to mature in as well. But so aggressive and so good at winning the ball back. Pretty good one-on-one as well. So when he wins the ball back, he often has the ability to kind of twist away from his marker and drive forward and contribute in an attacking sense. I don't think there's much that he lacks. As I say, he is pretty one-footed. There's one assist, again, that's included in the piece from last season where you think the whole time, just play it across with your left, but he does manage to kind of keep it in play with his right for the entire time. So I think he'd be more of maybe a 6 than a number 8. I think Veerman would have come into play maybe alongside Stephen Davis, whereas I think Raskin would maybe be the kind of centrepiece of that midfield, and then you'd have a Kamara or a Jack or a Lundstrom alongside him. But that said, I do think he could play slightly higher up. But to have a player at the base of midfield, Derek, who was able to dominate physically in that way, I don't think Rangers have had that. Lundstrom does give them that, but Lundstrom isn't. He's not the quickest, whereas Raskin really is, and that certainly stood out to me yesterday when I was watching him, just how effective his pace is in a way at the base of midfield you wouldn't always think a player needs a lot of pace there. Yeah,
world's greatest DJ with I like this similarity as Raskin, a Stuart McCall type player, Derek. Similarities, yes. A destroyer at times, but can reel bags of energy and can get about the pitch. If he's if he's half as good as Stuart McCall, I think Rangers are on to a winner. I think. Joshua.
Just as well, sorry there. Just as well, I was seeing a comment there. I think he'll try things, his pass percentage, we've got his radar. His pass percentage was 83% this season, and some people might look at that as a midfielder for comparison sake. Stephen Davis in the 55 season was, I think, 89. Some people might look at that with Raskin and think he doesn't hold the ball enough or he's too risky, but I think that's a real positive as well. You've got to remember he's playing in a team at the moment, Standard Liège, who haven't been brilliant, certainly since Rangers played them a couple of seasons ago. But you want a player who's going to take a risk. Rangers don't have enough players in that midfield, I think, who see an opening and try things, who can take the ball in the half turn and just drive up the pitch. The number of times you watch him, Raskin, and he gets the ball in front of his midfield and there's no real passing option, so he just says, stuff it, I'm going to drive up the pitch myself. He's very much a leader, and there's some quotes that reflect that from youth team managers. I think playing 100 games or whatever it is at the age of 21 for a club like Standard Liège shows that. It'd be a really exciting signing if Rangers could get him in, and I think really change the dynamic of that midfield, because Rangers have needed a player in there for a while, really, and I think that the rest of the contingent there, whether it be Lundstrom, Kamara, Jack, can obviously all complement and Raskin if he was to arrive.
Yeah, Ronnie Dyler, of all people, is a manager at Standard Liège at the moment. So, hopefully that move is one that can get over the line before the weekend. Brian Moore, just on that issue about pace, we need more intensity and energy in our play. We're play very slow, and I feel Lundstrom is part of the issue. Scott Patterson, morning Scott, with a fully fit squad, which is utopia. Who doesn't play? It's a tough one, but listen, it's a squad game these days.
Yeah.
Selection dilemmas, I'm sure. Selection headaches is what Michael Beale wants, Joshua. That midfield needs revamped. I think we're all in agreement. Todd Cantwell is the first step in doing so. The more players he has at his disposal, the better. Then it's all about trying to keep those that aren't playing happy.
Yeah, and I've seen the comments as well, some chat about Tillman and others, will he move? I don't, I mean, you're going to have to do well to upgrade on Malik Tillman.
No, yeah.
I don't know if that means more because players are coming in, but I think you see that right side of the triangle, which obviously leads to the goal at the weekend. We've spoken a lot as well about why Tillman's playing deeper, and I don't think the manager is going to use that. I think he's been building up that contingent of Tavernier, Sakala, and Tillman on the right, and it's worked really well. So as you say, Derek, it's a squad game. I'm sure that will rotate out and there'll be more pressure on them. But I don't think that necessarily players, say Cantwell and Raskin were to come in this window, I think they'd both be starting players, but there'd obviously be games that they don't start. Beale hasn't had the luxury of doing that so far. But I think you've got certain players who are definitely going to start in this system. Kent, Tillman, Tavernier, maybe not many outside of that. Goldson, Davies, maybe when he comes back, Ridvan Yilmaz as well. But Tillman for me, Derek, I think he's been Rangers' best player this season. I can't think of another player if anyone can think of a player who's made more of a contribution, and I know he splits opinion for some reason, but who's had a more effective season, especially considering his age, considering the fact that this is his first professional season, number of big moments he's had, even before Beale came in Europe as well to get Rangers into the Champions League. I know he didn't do well then, but no one did in the Rangers squad. So for me, he's a player that, alongside the likes of Cantwell and hopefully Raskin, you build this team around. And I think if you were able to have Tillman and Cantwell and Raskin in the midfield, especially at home, sometimes you maybe need to bring in a more defensive-minded player away from home. Again, it's a really exciting dynamic if you're looking to break down defences.
Yeah, definitely. On Tillman, it's the Rio Ferdinand clip for me where when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was moonlighting for the Man United job and he got that result against PSG, get the contract out, write whatever he wants on there and get him to sign it, basically. That's where I'm at with Malik Tillman. I know some supporters need to be convinced that the Rangers should shell out a substantial amount of money for him, but I've seen enough. I think they need to get him signed on a permanent deal. Stephen Smith gets in touch. Where does Cantwell signing leave Hadji in the pecking order? By all accounts, he should make an appearance on Saturday, Joshua. I think we'll know more at the end of the week where he's at, but Michael Beale did say a week or so ago that he's targeting that St Johnstone game at the end of the month. Ditto John Souttar.
Yeah, where does it leave him in the pecking order? I guess similar with someone like Tom Lawrence. Competition's good, and Rangers need options, and they've not had options so far this season. And you've seen how kind of harmful that's been to their chances. I know what the comment means, because if you think about Lowry and Kent in that position as well, it does start to become a bit crowded. But as I say, I think at home you'll often see maybe two attacking players playing in that midfield role. We've seen Tillman and Lowry both playing that role where they're taking the ball off the centre halves and the fullbacks are going higher at different points under Beale. When Hadji is back on the pitch, it'll be fantastic to see, because he's had such a long time out. That game against Stirling Albion when he went down feels so long ago. Obviously, it was over a year ago, or just about a year ago now. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him back on the pitch. But it'll take him time after that type of injury to get back to full fitness. And Rangers, although the gap is 9 points, Rangers still have the potential of winning 2 cups this season. The league, if they win the next Old Firm, I know by a points basis it looks hard to close at the moment, but I think you just got to keep winning and do what you can do, which is what Rangers have managed to do so far. So to get signings in at the moment who are ready to hit the ground running is important. And as Beale said, he wants to drive the standards in the building. He wants to turn the dial up. All these kind of buzzwords he said are true, because players will know that if they want to get in the team or even in the squad at points, they're going to have to outperform players who are either brought in or are coming back to fitness.
Yeah. There's one eye, of course, on. He did say he didn't want short-term gaps. It's one eye on the seasons ahead, and Rangers need a side that is able to reclaim the league championship. The Wasp gets in touch. Derek, any news on Lawrence injury? No, I'm afraid. Michael Beale did touch on this, I think, last week. He has suffered a setback. No timescales has been given with regards to his return. It's just immensely unfortunate, I'm afraid. Whether we see him before the end of the season remains to be seen. But yeah, he's been a huge miss of that. There is no doubt. Actually speaking to a Derby fan last week, and he did have his injury troubles to seek there also, but they are very keen to see him do well at Rangers as well, and they're sad to see how it's gone for him, because he did hit the ground running when he arrived, but story of Rangers season, unfortunately, it's been a season from hell, really, in terms of injuries and long-term injuries as well. Caroline says, don't think we'll see Lawrence again this season. If we do, it's a bonus. That's the way I'm looking at it, if we do see him. Another comment coming in here from James McConaughey. Guys, Neil McCann said that we need a centre forward. I tend to fully agree. Nisbet would fit in our system. Rangers need a centre forward, Joshua?
They probably get by towards the end of the season, but I agree that it's an area. Obviously, if you look at Morelos being out of contract, Cholak's had his injury issues, but I think you definitely need another player alongside him next season, because he'll be great in some games, not as effective in other games. Don't think it's controversial to say that. Yeah. So I do think they need a centre forward. I don't think Sakala suits playing with his back to goal. I think Beale's team looks better when they've got someone like Morelos to play into feet. And Morelos has quietly actually had quite an effective run under Beale. I think it's 7 or 8 goal involvements. If you look at the assists that he's got, as well as goals, obviously he lays on Jack's goal at Hampden, he lays on Kent's goal at Kilmarnock, scores 2 himself that night. So he's been quietly very effective. I think he's still got some way to go to convince that forking out a lot of money to keep him at Ibrox for a long time would be the right move, because Rangers, as Beale keeps saying as well, he says a lot, but he's spoken about not being too loyal to players and having to, I guess, move on at points, because as he's doing with bringing in a player like Cantwell, you need new players in that starting 11 to freshen things up. Long term, completely agree. Nisbet, would he fit the system? He's come back from injury pretty effectively, hasn't he? I don't know. You look at players like Nisbet and Shankland, and obviously they score a lot of goals in the Scottish Premiership. But I guess the question is, if Rangers need a starting striker, can they get a better player with a higher ceiling? I honestly don't know, because logic would tell you if they're scoring, Shankland scoring X amount of goals for Hearts, then he'd do that at Rangers. But I'd always be tempted to kind of look elsewhere as well, and not necessarily just because Rangers are obviously recruiting to do well in Europe as well. And are those players going to be able to perform like Morelos has been able to in that stage? I don't know. But yeah, I totally agree that over time, a centre forwards, depending on what happens with Morelos, absolutely required.
Yeah, and listen, there's still a good few days left of the transfer window. Just over, was it 7 days left now?
7 days. 7 days.
Yeah. So I expect clubs, not just Rangers, to ramp up their efforts and attempting to shape their squads before that window slams shut, as they say. Okay, folks, I think that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone for interacting with the show as ever. It's greatly appreciated. Just a reminder that Todd Cantwell press conference taking place this afternoon. So we'll have all the fallout from that on the website and on our social media channels. Just a reminder of our offer we've got on just now. You can see the little ticker below. 4 months of coverage on the site for just £1. We are literally giving it away. You can take out an annual subscription also, which has been slashed from £34.99 to just £19 for the entire year. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details. And if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that's totally free. Over 11,000 of you now supporting the channel. So thank you very much for doing so. We'll be back again tomorrow, but until then, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Bye for now.